Hello. Testing, testing. If you can hear me, please write in the messages that you can hear me. All right. Let me get your polls ready. Can you hear me? Is anybody alive out there? Can anybody hear me? All right. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, guys, we're going to start in about 2 minutes. So I'm going to start our usual motivational video to start, and then we'll get into everything USMLE, and we'll make sure that we do everything we can to make sure you match at your dream residency. All right. So without further ado, oh, no, hold on 1 second. I got to get my, all right. Without further ado, here's a video brought to you by Medspiration on USMLE Step 1.
My most prized piece of knowledge and the thing that I'm most proud of is how I attack every day. You know, I'm a big sports fan. I'm really into hard work, and I'm really into, attack mode, having the game face on. And probably the thing I love most about my studying was how I approached each day. And from day one of medicine all the way till now, I have the same philosophy is to master a concept, and concepts are probably the most important thing, especially for step one that you will encounter. I was so confident. I was taking NBMEs and I was getting 260s and high 250s on my NBMEs, and I was very confident. It doesn't matter. The day that I sat in that exam, I sat in that chair, my heart was racing. I was shaking, I was jittery, I was very nervous because I know this is going to reflect my career for the rest of my life. I wanted to kill this exam. I wanted to be in that top 10% in the nation. So my focus was on where I knew everyone else focuses was away from. It's not really about how smart you are, but it is your work ethic and its determination and it's your mentality from day one that you set for yourself every day, so on forth, until you take that exam.
Woo! All right. All right. Welcome, everybody. Good. Yeah, I'm glad you can hear me. I'll be Rhea McBride and many others. Wait for this place to get populated. I'll introduce myself. I am Dr. Nav Badesha. I'm a former CMU student. I'm a first-year resident at Southern Illinois University School of Medicine. I went to Caribbean Medical University, CMU, which I'm sure a majority of everybody in here is from CMU. I began my journey on the island, MD1, and I was there from MD1 to MD4, and I went off the island, went to Kaplan, began studying for Step 1, realized that the school didn't help me very much because I started getting my ass kicked while I was doing the assessment exams. I was like, bro, I thought I knew stuff. I knew nothing, bro. I knew. Okay, how about this? I got a 110 on the first NBME I took after Kaplan. I hadn't done UWorld yet, and I was like, 110? Like, I hadn't heard of anybody getting something worse than that, right? So I think it was actually like a 90 on the NBME on the scale of like from 800, and I think it equated to 140 on USMLE Step 1. And, you need like a 196 to pass. So that's when my whole life flashed before my eyes, and I was like, damn, parents helped me get this far in life. I don't even know if I could do this. I'm gonna let everybody down, So that's where the depression kicked in, the Siggy caps, the lack of sleep, the lack of interest, the guilt, low energy. The concentration began decreasing, right? So the appetite was low. Psychomotor agitation, didn't want to get out of bed, and I'm like, damn, this is gonna be. I don't know if I could ever overcome this, right? Anhedonia, yes, lack of wanting to do anything in life, and that's where I was for a long time. So But I shut up. I started owning my shit. I realized I didn't work hard enough, and I worked very, very hard. And I was blessed to have good people around me where I started lifting myself up, right? And that was one of the hardest things that I did. But I ended up passing step one. I took 4 NBMEs before I finally passed the school NBME, and then I passed step one on my first attempt. And now the CMU requires 70 to pass it. Yeah, it was always like that. It's not now. Abhi Kumar, it was always a 70. So when I was a student, I got a 69 multiple times, and I was like, shit. Like, come on, Jackson. Stop spreading. We need 196 to pass. I said 196 to pass. And you need a 70 on the NBMEs to pass. Yeah, I know. I'm giving you my experience. So it was before you, right? So my suggestion would be to listen rather than pointing things out, because I've already been through it. So you're not going to teach me something new. But yeah, so there was a lot of struggling there. Finally got over it. Began rotations. I did my rotations in Chicago. By the time step 2 came around, I was doing UWorld every day, even during my rotations. And I got a 232 on step 2 CK, which I was like, okay, now I feel like I'm pretty decent. I ended up matching at a university program. And, I just got done with my first month of service, which is all hospital medicine. We're probably putting in like 80 to 85 hours every day or every week. So, it was a heavy month this month, but I'm here to tell all of our CMU students that, you can get through it just like I can get through it. So I'm currently the academic advisor for CMU. So, I kind of know the things that Abhishek is pointing out because I help create those things and keep those things here. So there's a reason why it's required to get a 70 on your NBME, because CMU's step 1 passing rate is very high. And believe it or not, when you do residency interviews, CMU is looked at as a pretty decent school because our USMLE pass rate's high. So it might be hard to get over that 70, but that's the reason that you'll pass on your first attempt. So it was something when I was on your side I hated doing, but then now while I'm on the other side, I realized, oh, that was something that was meant for my benefit, right? And they raise the score every year. So when I first started med school, I think you had to get like a 188 to pass. By the time I took step 1, you needed a 192 to pass. And now I believe they raised it. So they seem to raise it by 4 points every year, or not every year, every other year, whatever it is. But now it's a 196 to pass. And, those are numbers that you should be getting you should be much higher than that anyways, right? So my goal here today is to be able to speak with you guys, share with you my experience, to give you a little bit of motivation to know that, hey, I've been there. It was a dark time, after I finished Kaplan, and, there was that dark hole between starting rotations or, being able to pass that NBME. That was one of the hardest times of my life. And the reason that I'm the academic advisor for our school now is because I'm not going to sugarcoat how hard it is. I'm going to tell you the truth about what you need to do. And then it's going to be your job to do that, right? So that's it. That's my introduction. It's a pleasure for, to be here. It's a pleasure to be able to speak with you guys. Now, what we're going to do here, it looks like some of you already started. I need you guys to head over to the polls, which, you'll see chat, you'll see questions, you'll see polls. So everybody in here right now, please make your way to the polls, answer all the questions in the polls. That's going to help me know where you're at. So everybody in here, I need to know where you're at before we get into how you can maximize your ability to do well, right? So please, again, make your way to the polls. I'll give you guys a few minutes to answer all the questions in the polls. Abhi Kumar, do you have your email for future? Yeah, I'll put it right here. So make your way to the polls, start answering the polls questions. In the chat, I've put my email. It's usmle@cmumed.org. I am the individual who is guiding many of our students through the step 1, step 2 CK, step 2 CS process. I'm also helping people apply for residency. I'm helping them understand what they need to make sure that they have on their applications and helping them through the interview process. I myself had 10 interviews. So, I have enough experience for anybody in here to be able to help you, to help guide you through that. The intention there is to help CMU become an even better school. I am a huge fan of Radek Lukowski, who is our CEO. He is a great CEO of our school, and he cares. So I'm the reason that each of you will have UWorld for free. That will be beginning October 3rd. So every student in here who's a CMU student, all the students beginning from MD1 to MD4, we will now be giving our students a UWorld subscription for free. And the reason, what's up, Mike? We'll be giving you guys UWorld for free. Our curriculum at CMU will now be based around UWorld. So the reason we do that is because when I was a student, we weren't doing UWorld. I did UWorld after Kaplan. It took me like 2 years. I sat there and I studied for 2 years before I passed step one after the island and after Kaplan, and that's a long time. I emailed you last time, but I haven't heard back. Should I message again, sir? Yeah, Guggen, please message back. So this month, if I failed to get back to you, it's because I was working like 85 to 90 hours at the hospital. So it's been a busy month, but hey, I take time to speak with you guys over the phone. So, a lot of you in here, you'll realize, yeah, I've taken time to be able to conversate with you, give you some pointers, and we'll be getting into all those pointers here today. So, again, you can send me that email again. I'll get back to you. And eventually I'll speak with you over the phone, and we'll set you up, and we'll make sure that you score well on your exam. So far I've been helping students. We've had a few students score over 240s, doing the system that I'm going to be teaching you guys here today. I've helped hundreds of students pass their exams already in my life. So this isn't something new. It's not something that, I'm trying out for the first time. This is something that's already worked 100 times. So again, if you're going to be here, listen, and apply. I'm not really here to hear you tell me stop spreading the wrong information. I would suggest that, you zip it. And if you're here to become a good doctor, that you listen to what I have to say. If you apply that, that will be something that will benefit you and you only. Okay. So that's my recommendation. I thought Abhi Kumar said that. Oh, yeah, it was Abhi. Wait, stop spreading wrong info. I don't care who said it, bro. We're here for step one. All right. If you're going to pass step one, we're going to have a great time today. Okay. And we're going to do it, hopefully to help you. Right. So I have the way. And if you have the will in your heart, it's not about getting caught up in small details. It's about making sure that we become the best possible physicians that we can, because don't realize that everything you study is one day going to put you in a position to save someone's life or kill them, And now that I'm on that side where it's like my decision will either kill somebody or save their life, I realize the value in putting in the work and doing well in every aspect of medicine, So again, at the end of the day, what you take from here will hopefully not just help you score well on your exams, but make you a good physician and help you save lives, because that's it's a tremendous responsibility, tremendous honor to be a physician in the United States of America. And that's something that doesn't come without every ounce of work, of dedication, right? So that's what we're here for. And now we're going to move into the polls. I'm seeing, did you attend the last webinar? 6 people have, 6 people haven't. I wish to pass USMLE step 1. It seems like many of you want to do it in 4 months. And that's good. That's good. 4 months is good. 6+ months, hey, it can take you some time. We're going to be going into the beginners, the intermediates, and the advanced people, and that's usually based off the score that you have. So we'll go into that. Looks like all of you are CMU students. That's fantastic. How many times have you hit Pathoma? One of you said 0. So we're going to get into what you need. And yeah, you're going to need to hit Pathoma. So for that person who didn't hit Pathoma, you need to purchase it. You need the videos. The things we're going to be going into, it's required that you have Pathoma. I had Hussein Sattar, who's the creator of Pathoma for Kaplan. I had him for 14 weeks. And, he said that his students hit UWorld 3 times and they average above 250. So again, it's up to you, but, I recommend hitting UWorld 2 to 3 times, and I recommend going through Pathoma. And you'll realize, in my personal opinion, I think Hussein Sattar writes questions for USMLE Step 1 because everything that he teaches in his course literally verbatim shows up on the exam. And it's not just for my exam, it's for the hundreds of people that I've helped pass. Pathoma is just the business, man. Right now, that's where it's at. So we'll be talking about how you can maximize using Pathoma along with the first aid, along with UWorld, and along with whatever resources that you find useful for yourself. But those are the core. If you're not using UWorld, Pathoma in your first aid, it's called UFAP. I'm not here to tell you to argue with you. If you're not using it, you're probably not going to pass. That's going to be up to you whether you use it or not. It's 100% guarantee that you will do well if you start using those resources the right way. And that's my goal, is to teach you how to use those resources the right way. So I'll do the best that I can to make that happen. What's the fastest you've ever cycled through all the material? The first day Pathoma, good, 3 months. Somebody says 6 months, 2 weeks, 1 week, less than 7 days. Okay, yeah. So, when you're first starting, it can take, a while. Pathoma and first aid. Pathoma is 19 chapters. First aid, goes in alphabetical order. It could take you a long time to go through. Initially, yeah, it's going to take 6 months if you're doing it right. Every time you do it, the half-life, it starts happening. So you'll see the first time you go through it might take you 6 months. Second time it might take you 3 months. After that, month and a half. After that, few weeks. Before you sit your exam, you'll be able to go through the entire first aid and all of Pathoma while doing 2 blocks a day in less than 7 days. That's, again, not up for question. That's going to be something that if you follow the process that I'm going to give you, you'll realize that not only is it possible, it's necessary. And at that point, work ethic eliminates fear. The amount of work that you put in to prepare for the exam, you go from a fearful state to a state where I'm going to kill this. And when I kill it, I'm ready for it. So there's a sense of excitement there, and you only start getting excited when your preparation has far exceeded what you need to do. And that's where I had no one telling me how much is really required, right? So how long have you been studying for step 1? I got 1 to 6 months. I got 7 to 12 months. Seems like a lot of you are reaching that 19 to 24 month period. Many of you have hit that 48-month threshold. Many of you have been studying for more than 4 years. So much respect to you who've been sticking it out for more than 4 years. Again, I told you myself, after the island, it probably took me 2.5 years to be able to sit step 1, which is far too long. If I had more guidance, I would have probably done it a lot faster, right? So, but that's why I'm here, right? And I just helped a student who's studying for 6 years pass. She's a CMU student herself. So, and she scored well. So again, some people it takes longer than others, but hey, when you are in residency interviews, it actually doesn't affect you as much as you'd think. Doesn't mean you should take as long as you can, but we'll get into that. We'll get into how, even if you took a long time, you could still match at a great program. We'll get into that. How many NBME attempts have you had? Majority of you had 4+. And again, I'm here. I took more than 4. It was on my 5th attempt that I passed. It took me 4 fails to get to that point. So I've been there. I understand what you're going through. I understand how much it sucks, how demoralizing it is. And after a while, you start realizing that, the failure is a good thing. You need that to push you to do more, So, and we'll get into that. And we'll get into the mindset of how you can do that. So, again, you're at the right place. So what is the highest NBME score you've gotten? 3 of you have scored over 200. Many of you are in the either 100 to 150 range. Again, I think I scored like 140, so I was in that range. I was stuck in the 170 to 190 range for a long time. And then I got into the 200s, and it was hard to overcome that. And it took getting through the material at a certain speed with a certain amount of efficiency to be able to take it higher. So we'll talk about, for the students who are plateauing right now around that 190 to 205 mark, what it's required to get over that, right? Have you taken step 1 before? 1 of you have, and 13 of you haven't. So again, I know many students who failed step 1 and still ended up matching and, matched a pretty decent program. So again, it's not going to make or break you whether you failed or not. So it's still a possibility to do well, but you're going to need to prove that, you get stronger with each adversity, and that, you can be positive through the process, and that you can deliver, that you scored well once you came back, So again, it's okay if you failed, but majority of you, I want you to be able to pass at first attempt, right? Because that does make a difference. Now, how many times have you done the UOQ bank? It looks like majority of you have done you're about halfway through the first time. Get through it. Get through it. You're going to need to get through it because, again, Satara said his students do it over 3 times and they score over 250. So mastering UWorld requires understanding the concepts and also memorizing the material. It's a balance of both. And mastery conceptually is more important than memorizing. But if you do it 3 times, not only is the mastery just going to happen through sheer hard work, but some of it you memorize, and that's only going to help you on the exam. So that's really good. All right. So now we're going to move to the questions portion of this, right? So I see a few of you have already started submitting questions. So I want everybody to make your way to the questions and start submitting questions. So whatever questions that you have for me, submit them. And for everybody in here who goes to the questions section, you can vote up the questions that you feel like are very important that you want answered. So I'm going to be here for the next about 40 minutes answering your questions. So again, please make your way to the questions section. Start sending me questions. We'll go from there. And you can start voting up questions that you find are very important. This is a really good way for us to get to know each other and for me to be able to just directly answer any questions you have, along with building on the things that I'm going to be teaching you. And back to the chat, we got Abhishek. Yeah, hey, Abhishek. So I know I passed the exams. So the goal isn't to score 196 on the exam. The goal is to score over 230. So I understand that right now that's all you could see. But my recommendation would be to come here to become educated. And if it's something that, you have an issue with, then I would just recommend leaving. And you don't really need my help because you seem to know a lot. You can probably figure it out yourself, right? So good luck to you. And that's it. I don't want to have to argue about 196, 68%. The goal is to far exceed the bare minimum, right? I'm not here to argue about the bare minimum. I was once there, and I once had to overcome the bare minimum and exceed that. So the goal here today is to educate you on how you could do that for yourself. And if that's something you don't want, again, figure it out, right? So we're getting questions. I got Beatrice sending 2 questions in. Again, guys, please submit more questions so I can begin answering them. So I'm going to start answering those questions now. It looks like a lot of you guys are starting to submit questions, which is excellent. So please, for anybody who doesn't want to submit questions, just start voting them up, and we can go from there. So, all right. It looks like I'll start with the first question. It's popping up. Beatrice, how long should a student wait after MD4 to go to a review course? Since we know there's a lot of gap between them. Yeah, so I get asked this question every time, and you need to go directly to a review course. This isn't something that is up for debate. When you don't know what you need to know and you don't know what you don't need to know, you need to go to the review program so they can teach you that. You can't, like, one of the greatest excuses, and one of the things that I considered myself at the time was, I don't want to look stupid and I don't want to show that I don't know much. So maybe I should self-study. And maybe once I feel like I've self-studied enough, then I'll go to the review program. No, that's not how it works. You need to, right after MD4, start a review program, not a 7-week, a 14-week. And honestly, out of all of them, Kaplan's the best tested and proven. If you have a choice, you should do a 14-week Kaplan course right after MD4 because you're not going to pass the NBME right after Kaplan. Unless you did really good studying on the island, majority of you are going to fail a lot even after you do Kaplan. But the thing is, Kaplan will teach you what you need to know more than what the island will. So rather than coming off blind from the island and then trying to study blind, the goal is Kaplan's going to teach you exactly what you need to know. They give you the blueprint. So then when you leave Kaplan, you kind of know what you have to attack. So Beatrice, it's a great question. It's a question that I get every time I do one of these webinars. And it's a question that I had for myself, right? So again, there shouldn't be a debate about it. My personal recommendation is that you go directly to a 14-week review course, preferably Kaplan, and you do the Kaplan Q Bank. You attend every single Kaplan lecture, and after that, you take an assessment. You see where you're at, and then you go from there. And if you're a CMU student, I am your academic advisor. I do this to you. You don't pay me to do it. I do it for free for you because that's my job here at CMU. So, the goal is go to Kaplan, have me guide you through the process, ask me questions, and, I'll be there to help you get through every aspect from the beginning, middle to the end to beyond that to the point where you match, right? So it's kind of cool. The reason that I became academic advisor is because I wish someone would have done this for me, and because it was a hard time, it was a tough time getting through that. It's gratifying for me to be there for you. It's gratifying for me to be able to help you through that process. So it's a win-win, because now when I get students telling me, hey, I got a 230, I got a 240, bro. Thank you so much. I feel like I just relived passing the exam, So trust me, I get a lot of gratification helping you guys through it. And the goal is to make CMU the best Caribbean medical school, and that's something that's going to happen if we do everything the right way, right? So I hope that answers your question. Again, Beatrice, if you have more questions, I'm more than happy to answer those. I recommend emailing me at USMLE, USMLE@cmumed.org. All right. Cool. Beatrice, you are a CMU student. Yeah, cool. No problem. I'm here for you, and the struggle is going to be real. All right. So again, everybody, please submit more questions. And for those of you who are in here, vote up the questions that you feel like are the most important. I'm going to answer the ones that are voted up the highest first. So next question is by Taha Alameri. Is there a way to do this while working 60 hours a week with family and kids? So I'm a big proponent of not speaking limits into existence, right? But that sounds damn near impossible. I'm not gonna lie. You need to get some loans from CMU and you need to work, because the thing is, when you're studying, like when I was reaching the peak of my studying, I was going 14 to 16, at least 6 days a week. Now, I don't have a calculator. I do have a calculator. I'll just do the math myself for you so you get an objective understanding of what it really takes. So if I'm doing, let's say 15 hours, 6 days a week, that's 90 hours. I'll probably put in 8 hours on Sundays. So I'm putting in 98 hours of studying every week. You understand? And that's when I finally know what I'm doing and I'm doing the right stuff, right? So how many hours are even in a week? There's 24 hours in a day times up by 7. So if there's only 68 hours in a week and I'm putting in 98 hours, there's 70 hours left. Out of those 70 hours, how much sleep am I getting? 70 hours. So if I'm sleeping 8 hours every day, damn, that's 56. That gives you 14 hours to do. Nah, hell nah. 60 hours of work, you won't be able to. Unfortunately, it's not going to be feasible for you, right? Because even when you're working full time, it's I was not only putting in 90 to 100 hours studying, but I was putting in 40 hours into Medspiration, and Medspiration reaches 3 million people a week. So our organization's pretty big, and so I was working hard, and I barely had enough time for it. So I mean, I don't know how you're going to be able to do that, Taha. We could discuss it, make a schedule, but honestly, this exam isn't easy, and it's one of the hardest exams in the world, and it requires everything. So unfortunately, there's going to have to be some sort of sacrifice for somebody in your family to help you. And I would recommend reaching out to me through email if you have like money problems, if you need help getting a loan or something, these are things that the CEO can help you with. And it's a discussion we're going to have because, again, I don't like speaking limits into existence. Who's to say you won't be able to do it in a few years if you stay consistent? But I'm just saying that's too much for one person to take on. So, good luck. Reach out to me through email. We'll figure out your situation and we'll try to make it easier on you. All right. And then, all right, next question. Oh, we got one that's getting voted up a lot. Sarah. And Sarah E. Lesal, I'm so sorry I pronounced your name wrong probably. But Sarah, I've spoken to you over the phone a few times, and we've been in touch, and I know that you've been making some progress. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm thankful that you're willing to listen and be a student, and I'm thankful that it's paying off for you. I want to see you do well, okay? So the question is, how do you push yourself over 11 hours a day? My distractions are extremely minimal. The problem is my brain maxes out after 10 or 11 and simply cannot concentrate. Yeah, I mean, everything's an exercise, So like I when I first started studying, I couldn't even study for like an hour, I think it's important for everybody to understand that. Like I was probably studying like, an hour, I'd take like a 3-5 hour break. I don't know, and like I probably put in 2 hours and felt like I was doing a lot. You know what I'm saying? So obviously I didn't start at the 15-hour like work, ethic. It took time to get to that point. But, I realized first I was like, okay, if I'm going to study for an hour, what I need to do, study for 50, take 10-minute break, either go on a walk, have a snack, go meditate, do something, but then, go on Instagram, do whatever you have to do in those 10 minutes, but give yourself breaks. Eventually 1 hour turned into 2, 2 hours turned into 3, 3 turned into 6, 6 turned into 9, eventually got to that point. And like, when you start studying more, you start doing dramatically better. So you do better on UWorld, you start you retain more, you start understanding more, you start scoring better on NBMEs, and eventually you start getting more motivation because when you start seeing, I'm getting like 80s on UWorld, I'm doing well on, on my last NBME, I might have passed. I might have gotten over that 190 to 200 mark, and now I'm really happy because I realized, one time I was at a 140. Now I'm like motivated to do better because I realize it's possible, right? So again, your work ethic, it develops itself. It's like a muscle. The more you work it out, the stronger it gets. And the goal is to push yourself every day. Be better than who you were yesterday. If you put in 11 yesterday, try to put in 11 with like 10 additional minutes tomorrow. And then on top of that, the next day, try to put 20 additional minutes on that. And now you're at 11:30, So it's incremental. And it's always like trying to improve on who you were yesterday, right? Compete with yourself. Be better every day. Be the best version of yourself every day. And it takes time, your brain, to develop that stamina. Now I realize, being in residency, having worked 90-hour weeks, I realize, what is a 90-hour? It's like 14, 15 hours every day, So those 14, 15 hours every day spent studying are now 14, 15 hours I'm spending with patients and time that I'm doing documenting it all, right? So it's not like this ever ends. So you have to be really passionate about what you're doing, and you have to realize that step one seems hard now, but the challenges get harder over medicine doesn't get any easier. So if you think it gets easier after step one, it doesn't. It just, you learn how to manage more after that, right? So, and it's necessary because if you're a first-year resident, like so much is required of you, things that are shocking you, like my wife is in neuro ICU right now, and literally she has to, like when she's on call and it's only her, like she gets patients who have an acute stroke and she's the only person there. Like, I understand step one is like very stressful and it's hard to concentrate, but when you've been working for 10 hours and someone has a stroke in front of you and you're going to be the reason they either die or live, you realize that pressure is even more than step one, right? So again, get used to it, learn to use it to your advantage and develop a work ethic that improves over time, right? Be incremental. Don't think that you're going to just do 15 one day and it's just going to start. Again, like I told you from my experience, it went from 1 hour and I slowly worked my way up to have better work ethic, right? So I hope that helps. Keep working, Sarah. I know you're working hard, so I'm proud of you. Just keep going. All right. Ubby says you should do a podcast. I have a podcast. It's the Menspiration Podcast. We reach over 1 million people a week through the podcast. So, and I usually interview people, so I'm not the one doing the talking. But thank you. I appreciate that. All right, Sarah, your question has been answered. Please, guys, make your way to the questions. Submit more questions. I'm also going to be getting into what you need to be doing and how you need to be doing it. And I want to get into that. Hopefully your questions ask it so I could get into that part as well. Beatrice, looks like you just submitting questions people are liking. So I'll answer another one of your questions. We were told last semester all students that paid for their fees will be eligible for UWorld. Is that applicable for students that left? Yes. So all students who are CMU students, starting October 3rd, which is in like, I don't know, I think it's like 5 days, but I'm sure if my man Abhishek's here, he'll be here to correct me on it. Yeah, I'm sure in about 5 days, all of you will be getting your UWorld for free. And yeah, we'll go from there. CMU got the loan. So we're good. Everything's moving. Our school is going to be one of the best schools in the Caribbean eventually because we're giving our students the opportunities now, and thank God for a great CEO. He actually listens, and he wants the best for the school, and he puts his ego aside. So I'm grateful to be mentored by such a great person. So again, yeah, you will be getting UWorld. That's not just for Step 1 students. Step 2 CK for our clinical students. So we'll be taking care of y'all. Things are moving. We're improving a lot. So I hope that answers your question. Abhishek laughing out loud. I am usually very charming. I'm sure you are, my man. Okay. Actually, looks like whose question am I answering next? It looks like Guggen Gill is who I will be doing next. All right, Guggen. I feel like I take too long to cycle through my material and I burn out. How can I avoid this? Yeah. Guggen, it depends on where you're at. And I'm glad you asked this question. So I'm going to get into your approach. Okay. So we'll start with beginners. Our beginners are the people who are scoring between 100 to 160. Okay. If you're anywhere between 100 to 160, your job isn't to cycle through the material as fast as you can yet. It's not there yet. Okay. Your job right now is to do UWorld. For the beginners, the first time you do UWorld, you need to do it subject by subject. So you need to do UWorld. Start with cardio, for example, right? You need to do all of UWorld cardio and only that. 40 questions a day. I don't even care if you're not doing it timed. When you're a beginner, you could do these. You have to do 40 questions a day. And even if you're doing them tutor mode, what you need to do with every question is you need to annotate your own notes from every question. I need you to do all, God knows, there's like probably 230, 240 cardio questions in UWorld. And you need to do 40 of those a day, right? And you need to have your UWorld there. You need to have your first aid there. You need to master, at least go through the embryo anatomy, physio, path, and farm of the first aid, along with all of the UWorld. Have your own notes on the side and hit pathoma for cardio, right? And that's one subject. Once you finish that subject, just let it go, move on to endocrine. After that, so again, rinse and repeat. So for beginners, you're doing subject by subject. Cardio, all of UWorld, all of first aid, all of pathoma, move on to endocrine. All of UWorld, all of first aid, all of pathoma, move on to GI. GI, hit all of UWorld, all of first aid, all of pathoma, go to heme. Do all of that for heme, repeat. It goes in alphabetical order in the first aid, right? So then do musculo. Eventually you're going to get to renal, respi, repro. Get through all of them, but you're going to do subject by subject. You should do 40 questions a day. Take notes on those questions. Understand those questions. It should take you 6 hours to do 40 questions when you're a beginner, okay? So from scoring 100 to 160, that range, your goal is not to cycle through the material yet. Your goal right now is just to do subject by subject, attain some form of I went through the whole entire thing. That's not going to be the last time you're going to go through it. Just let your first time be, okay, I understand UWorld now. I went through the first aid one time. I went through pathoma one time. We'll go on from there. Okay, so that's where beginners are going to be at 100 to 160. Now, once you've done that, you're going to be in the 160 to 180 range. Maybe some of you are in the 190. Some of you might already hit 200s, depending on how you were studying on the island, right? So this is where we get into the intermediate phase. So once you've done UWorld once, you've done it subject by subject, and you've done the first aid and pathoma, you're going to step it up now. You're going to do mixed timed blocks after that. So after you've done all that, you move to mixed time blocks, 40 in 1 hour. You should do 2 blocks every day. You should do 80 questions. It should take you 2 straight hours to knock out 80 questions. You're going to review those questions again. These are questions you've already done. It should take you less time to go over all of them. Still might take you 6 hours to do 2 blocks, though. Go over the notes you annotated last time. Simplify them. Create simpler notes. Go through the first aid on the subjects that you were asked questions on. Hit pathoma, whatever chapter you want, right? So the second time around, you're going to get through UWorld. If you do 2 blocks a day, you can hit UWorld, all of it in 35 days. Yeah. If you do UWorld, 2 blocks, mixed time blocks, you should get through in 35 days. So that second time around, like, you know, again, you're going through UWorld, mixed time blocks, you're hitting every subject, everything. You're going through the first aid again, you're hitting all the pathoma again. At this point, like, you're going to reach a certain level of mastery. And this is where most students start getting a plateau because, you know, now you're around that 180, 190. You failed your NBME because you still need that 190, 200, whatever you need. You should be getting over 205, bottom line. Like, I don't care what the cutoff is. The goal is to do way better than the cutoff, right? And even if you're at that 205 range, you need to score much higher than that at one point, right? But the goal, the conversation is, how do I get past that plateau, right? Now, this is where it gets really important. So say you've already done subject by subject. Say you've already done UWorld and pathoma. Say you got past that and you did 2 blocks and you're doing 2 blocks mixed timed and you're going through the first aid and you're doing pathoma. What's the next step to get over that? This is where I personally was like, oh, okay, I'm going to book my NBME for 4 weeks in advance. I'm going to get through everything one time. So now in the next 4 weeks, my goal is I'm going to get through the first aid one time. I'm going to get through pathoma one time, and I'm going to do probably a block a day. That's not enough. It's not enough to get over the hump because US Med students are what you're going against. And the US Med students are doing it every week. So that's where now this question, this is where we get to. So this is a question, I forgot who submitted the question, but the question is, I feel like I take too long to cycle through my material and I burn out. Listen. If you're cycling before you did subject by subject, if you're cycling before you did mixed time blocks, then you might burn out. But then now, once you've done those 2 things, now the goal becomes to be able to cycle everything in 1 week. Okay? And that means, say you book your NBME. You literally want, you book your NBME maybe 4 weeks in advance. You want to cycle 4 times through all the material before you take that exam. You will pass that motherfucking exam. I guarantee you will pass that exam, right? It's just about putting in that work. Now let's talk about how that's possible, right? How is it possible to cycle in 7 days? Because it's very challenging. This is where you start getting into 14 to 16 hours a day to be able to get it out, you know? And so I'll tell you how I did it, right? Dr. Alex Al-Sadi did it, who was the guy at the beginning of this video who got a 254. He was my colleague. He went to CMU. He matched at University of Arizona. He's an internal medicine doctor in his 2nd year of residency, one of my best friends. So we did the same thing. What we did was we used pathoma, 19 chapters of pathoma. Your goal, say you want to be able to cycle the material in 7 days. And this is, again, before I tell you how to cycle in 7 days, you must have done UWorld subject by subject and gone through first aid and pathoma and then done UWorld mixed time blocks and have gone through first aid and pathoma to be able to be like basically on your 3rd run of UWorld to be able to cycle in 7 days. This is not easy. And if you try to do it before, it's not going to work as effectively, right? So once you get to this point, then what you're going to do is there's 19 chapters in pathoma. You need to do 3 chapters every day. So I would start my days. I would do probably 2 blocks. Again, mixed timed. And I'll knock them out, get through them. I'll probably do that in like 4 hours, to be honest with you, because then I'll take 2 hours to do them, take an hour to review each block, because this was probably my 3rd time going through UWorld. So I'd start at maybe like 6 or 7 a.m. So by like by like 10 or 11 a.m., I'm already done with my 2 blocks and I've already reviewed them. So for then the rest of the day, I'll shift my focus on trying to do 3 subjects of pathoma. So say I do cardio, endocrine, and repro. Cardio at 2 times speed on pathoma. And remember, I did pathoma when I was doing subject by subject. I did pathoma when I was doing mixed timed. And now this is like my 4th or 5th time going through pathoma. I'll go through it 2 times speed because I've watched the videos. So at around 11 a.m. or around noon, I'm starting that. So I do cardio, 2 times speed, finish in 45 minutes. While I'm doing the videos and I'm listening and watching the videos, I also have my first aid open to cardio pathology and all the notes that I annotated the first 2 times I did UWorld, I have those open. So what I do is in 40 minutes, I'm going to have all of pathology done. And then I'm going to review all of pathology in the first aid and the notes that I've annotated. And then after that, I'm going to go through all of embryo, anatomy, physio, and pharm in the first aid and my notes. So now I've done all of cardio in probably like 2 hours max. You understand? So that's one subject in about 2 hours. So say it's about 2 or 3 p.m. at this point. Take a break, back at it. Do the same thing for endocrine. I'm going to watch it. It takes about 40 minutes, 2 times speed. Hit all of pathology. Hit all of pathoma, go through all my pathoma or all my annotated notes, and then go through the embryo, anatomy, physio, and pharm in the first aid. Now I've done, it's about 5 o'clock, and I've done 2 blocks, reviewed them, and I've done cardio and I've done endocrine. It's about 5 or 6 p.m. at this point. You know, you're getting tired, but shoot, I got to do one more. If I'm going to cycle everything in 7 days, I'm going to do repro. Might take me 30 minutes. On top of that, again, I got to go through all my repro notes, and I got to go through anatomy, physio, pharm, and embryo, right? From the first aid and my annotated notes. It's like 8 p.m., bro. I started at like 6, you know, and I've done 3 chapters. So after that, I'm just like, I'm pretty burnt out at that point, you know, so I would go to the gym at that point. So, you know, that's what, like 14 hours. But realistically, you're going to take some breaks. You're going to have lunch in between that time. So that turns into 16 hours very easily, right? And, you know, that's one day. And after that, the next day, I'm doing 3 again. So I'm going 2 blocks, 3 subjects. And again, all the anatomy, embryo, physio, pharm, and all my annotated notes. So if you do this, you should finish 19 chapters of pathoma in the entire subjects of the first aid in about 6.5 days. So now check this out. You've done 2 blocks every day. You've cycled through all the material that you need to, and you're still left with certain things because you won't have had done micro, biochem, and pharm. You will have gone through pharm, but these are the memorization subjects. You have to get through biochem, micro, and pharm. And I recommend doing that 7th day. Right. So the reason I'm saying this is because every 7 days, once you've done the entire cycle, all subjects, and you did all the memorization subjects, you take an NBME. Like imagine this. If your NBME is on a Monday and you have 4 weeks to take that NBME, every 6 days you cycle through the material. On that 7th day, you hit biochem, micro, and all of pharm quickly before you take the NBME. You take that NBME, you get the score, you know your weaknesses. You start with your weaknesses, and you do for 7 days, you cycle everything again, master your weaknesses, take another NBME on Monday at the same time you're going to take it. So week 1 Monday, week 2 Monday, week 3 Monday, week 4 Monday, you're taking an NBME that you could buy. You're taking a UWorld assessment that you could buy. And then the next Monday is when your actual exam is. So when you're cycling every Monday and you're taking an exam at the same time every Monday, your body gets into a rhythm of, oh, that Monday I'm going to take the exam. I will have cycled 4 times. I will have gone through all the memorizations 4 times. So then by the time I take the exam, work ethic eliminates fear. You're not going to be scared. After a while, you do 5 or 6 cycles, you're going to be ready to kill it. Trust me. You're not going to be asking about 196. Oh, that's the cutoff. No, you're going to be like, bro, I'm in the 240 range. I don't care about that. You know? So that's beginner, intermediate, and the end right there. So whoever is listening, that's straight gold for you. Now, again, I'm going to repeat this multiple times. We'll be able to talk about this further because you can email me about that. But So that would kind of answer your question a little bit. That's how you can try to avoid burnout, is go step by step. If you're a beginner, do what a beginner should do. Go subject by subject. Do pathoma first aid, but just do a block a day and try to do each subject like that, right? Second time around, you're in the intermediate phase. Do 2 blocks, mixed times. Make sure you hit the entire first aid. Make sure you hit all of UWorld. Go from there. Once we get to that third time around, this is where we're getting into cycling. If you're getting into cycling before that, it's not going to work as well, because you need a certain amount of you need a foundation before you can cycle that quickly and retain. If you're cycling for the sake of going through the material, but you don't have a foundation, it's not going to work for you, right? So that's how you avoid burnout, is to know where you're at and to only put in the work that you need to with where you're at. You'll know when you progress further that you can cycle without getting burnt out. All right. Taha, what's your email? I'll put it in here again so you can have it. USMLE at cmumed.org. Again, guys, this is my email. Email me. We'll get things figured out. All right. Let's keep answering some more questions here. Abhishek, let's answer your question. So UFAP after Kaplan help increase the score from 190s to 230, 240. If done properly, yes. If done with the proper work ethic, and I kind of explained how that works and what's required. So with ease, if done properly, the rest is kind of on you and what you actually are doing. Not to where it's like, while you go through the process, I'm there to be able to guide you through it and to be able to tell you where you could be going wrong and what you could be doing better. The goal there is not attack you. It's to tell you, listen, this is what you need to attack. And if you listen, again, I've had multiple students get 240s for CMU, and it's pretty, because now we're starting to match into competitive programs. Like Alex and I, we both got into university programs. We're not at a small program. We're at a very good competitive program, and that just helps with your future. So again, yeah, UFAP after Kaplan is exactly what I recommend. So reach back out if you have any more questions. All right. Let's see here. Looks like Yvonne. I have 2 months before my test. Any suggestions? Yeah, I have a suggestion, Yvonne. You need to email me, and I need to speak with you over the phone. We'll go from there. I have multiple students who are taking the exam in the next month, in a few weeks. And it's listen, if we follow through with kind of what I've mentioned already, will maximize your ability to do the best that you possibly can. And it's there's no magic. It's from work. And that's the beauty of it. You earn it, So again, I put my email in the chat. Email me, send me your phone number. I will contact you directly. We will speak over the phone. We will make a schedule for you that benefits you, and we'll go from there. All right. I'd recommend the same for anybody else. All right. Let's keep them coming. Good. We're answering most questions here, and I have about 7 minutes left, so we're doing good here. Oh man, I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna know how to pronounce. Anola Adedeji. Sorry if I said your name wrong. It's a beautiful name. So what is an ideal study plan to finally conquer comp and step 1? Yeah. Answered it in detail. So we went over beginner, intermediate, and advanced, how to start, which is subject by subject. How, once you do that, you go into doing UWorld mixed timed while doing UFAP, right? And then how you get into cycling near the end of it. This process will get you many over 260 if you already put in a lot of work. So there's no limit to what you can score, but on average, you'll usually get a 230 if you do that. I mean, because that's what I got, right? And I didn't know anything. I was just like you guys. I was lost, So for me to be lost and then to get a 230 through hard work, I'm sure if I had more guidance, I probably could have been in 250s. But hey, it's all possible, right? So just you can do it. I hope that I already answered this question for you, and I hope that was helpful. All right. We got more questions. Here's a really cool name, Gazella Scarrett. Strategy for answering the questions. Excellent question there. Strategy for answering questions. All right. So strategy for answering the questions. Yeah. Read the last sentence first. Always. There's no room for like, I don't want to hear arguments. Just read the last sentence first. It helps you understand what they're asking, and then you can look at the 4 to 5 options and be like, oh, well, let's see what I can get already, and then read the whole entire question, because then you know what the question's based around. Sometimes they'll have like 2 paragraphs, and the last sentence is like something simple that was memorization. So you just wasted like so much time reading it when you could have just answered it if you read the last sentence first. That saves a lot of time over time, right? So that is the number one thing. After that, don't just know why the correct answer is correct. Know why the incorrect questions are incorrect. UWorld is your gold standard. All the answer options they have are connected to that. So, all the questions that are wrong are somehow connected to the right answer. And the goal is to master the question to the point where you know why the wrong answers are wrong and you know why the right answer is right. This will help you over time with your process of elimination. So after a while, after you've seen like 5,000-6,000 questions, you can just read the last sentence. You could already probably cancel out 2 to 3 options and be left with like 2 to 3 options, just because you know why the wrong answer is wrong. And you know that out of the 2-3 options, you've already limited what you're going to pick, right? So over time, just off top, those are the 2 things. Read the last sentence first, and then learn to master not just the correct answer, but the incorrect answer, so your process of elimination over time improves. All right, I hope that helped. Question from Abi Kumar. What you think about other Q banks, MedBullets? I mean, dude, no, just do UWorld. UWorld's your gold standard. If you've gone through UWorld 3 times, then start focusing on other Q banks. Like, the only time I'd say use another Q bank is when you're just starting and you're doing Kaplan. Do the Kaplan Q bank to the best of your ability when you're in Kaplan. But once you're out of Kaplan, you're doing UWorld. Students in Harvard Medical School. I was just at Harvard Medical School because there was a trauma conference there. And students there don't go to class. They're doing UWorld. So again, I mean, hey, you could choose what you want. I'm here to tell you, when a Harvard med student is doing UWorld, you're doing UWorld. We shouldn't be talking about others. UWorld is gold standard. I spent so much time trying to make sure our school would give UWorld to our students because it's UWorld and UWorld only. Okay. Once you've done it 3 times, we can talk about other questions, right? And after that, the other questions should be in the form of all the NBMEs you can purchase and all the UWorld assessments you can purchase. And that's more than enough, because that's probably 5,000-6,000 questions if you do it properly. And the average US Med students does 2,000 to 3,000 questions. The average IMG does 5,000 to 6,000 questions before they sit step 1. UWorld. All right. What do you think about doing UWorld by subject and Kaplan randomly? Yeah, I'm gonna do a live answer. Okay, so what do you think about doing UWorld by subject and Kaplan randomly? Yeah, just follow the plan that I'm giving you. Don't try new things. What I'm telling you has already worked. It's already like, it can guarantee you a 240, So like, I'm big on like sticking to that and not doing new stuff. If you want to try it out and you don't want to hear me out, that's fine. Try it out. Again, I would say Kaplan, do it while you're in Kaplan. Then get rid of that Q bank. It's nothing like step 1, So focus on UWorld. When I took step 1, when I took step 2 CK, it's exactly like UWorld. I don't need to say anymore. So, if you're going to do Kaplan, do it when you're doing Kaplan review. But other than that, you're only doing UWorld. Do UWorld subject by subject. After you've done it once, do UWorld next time block. After you did that, focus on cycling by just going through those same questions, because that's what Pathoma students, like Hussein Sattar students, get 250s doing this, So, I mean, I don't really have a reason for you to do otherwise, Okay, and what's cool is we have one more question left. So that's awesome. I'm going to put one more poll up here. And that poll just asks you guys a question. So I'm asking you guys, did you find this webinar useful? I do one webinar a month, every month, to be able to help you guys, right? And the goal is I hope that you find them useful. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna send you guys. Where is it? 1 second here. We're just waiting on. There. Oh no, I'm just gonna do a new one. Oh, here it is. All right, last poll is if you found this useful, and it's to be able to understand whether it is useful for you guys and what I could do to improve. So I have now published the poll. Last poll, guys. It's did you find this webinar useful? Just work your way to the polls. If you found it useful, say yes. If you put no, just put in the chats why you didn't find it useful, so I can be able to, make these better for the future. And then let's see, what else do we have here? Erica says thanks. Thank you, Erica. Or Eric, my bad. Yeah, Eric, reach out to me through email. I don't know if we've talked before. Canadian exam with Europe. Yeah, sorry, Ubby. I only speak about things that I've done and I've done well in. I never took the Canadian exam, so I don't know much about it. So I don't want to say something and be wrong. So you'd be better off asking someone who might take the Canadian exam. I really can't help you with that, but I can help you with step 1 and step 2. Thanks a bunch, Nav. God bless you. I pray that he will continue to prosper. But thank you. Anola, I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. You're beautiful. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Reach out through email. I'll be there for you. Guggen, yep, thank you. I appreciate it. And then so our polls. Oh, cool. Yeah, it looks like everybody in here, you guys said yes. So yeah, guys, again, I appreciate you guys a lot. I really care about our students. Yeah, Eric, it's a different exam. I forgot what they call it, but it's similar to step 1. I don't know. I forgot what it's called, but I know it's pretty challenging as well. The Canadian exam is so, but again, there's a lot of students who are Canadian students at Caribbean Medical University, so I'd recommend asking them, and it'll probably be better. But yeah, okay. Well, it looks like you guys found it useful. I appreciate it. So this actually saves. I'll have it up on CMU's YouTube channel. So, if you haven't, Caribbean Medical University has a YouTube channel, and all these webinars are on there, so you can rewatch them all you want. This will be available for the next 24 hours. Other than that, follow Medspiration. It's MED Inspiration, Mind, Body, Spirit. I founded it first year in med school. We have over 230,000 followers on Instagram, over 70,000 subscribers on YouTube. We reach over 3 million people a week. I have a podcast. We've had many famous people on the podcast. I interview them. It's always related. It's always relevant to medicine. So, if you're bored, you want to check it out. I'd love for you guys to support Medspiration. And yeah, again, the email is usmle@cmumed.org. I put it here in the chat. You can find it in the chat. Email me anytime. I'll do my best to reach back out to you guys. All right. Thank you guys. Many blessings. I appreciate it. Good luck to you. And Godspeed.